a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
As a noun, right? But there are a lot of people, there's some designations out there that call it, it's like certified fiduciary or certified financial fiduciary, CFF. It's a designation. That designation means that they have agreed to act as a fiduciary. It doesn't mean that they are, it just means they've acted. And so what you could just do, and then by the way, if you go to somebody and they say, that common question, are you a fiduciary? 99% of financial people would just be like, yes. And we stop asking questions then. Well, tell me who says you're a fiduciary? Like you said it, but who says it? Does your company say it? Does a government agency? Are you registered? Who says you're a fiduciary? Why do they say you're a fiduciary?
I want to invite you into the Business Network, my free school community for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to grow their network and scale their business. Inside, you'll get step-by-step lessons, monthly workshops, feedback, scripts, resources, bonuses, and a community of like-minded people who believe in helping each other win. Join us today at school.com, the Business Network, and click Join Group. I'll see you inside.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. And before I get my gratitude, we're going to talk money today, but money in a respect that's probably a little different than you used to. It can serve you, and of course, it cannot serve you, and that's all up to the person. But we're talking about if you really want to scale your money, but doing it in a different, unique way using that servant's heart. So here's our gratitude for today before we bring our guest on. You are awesome. Your kindness and strength make the world brighter. And these are random cards that come out. And this describes my guest, who I've only known for about 10, 15 minutes, perfectly, because he wants a brighter future, and especially people's brighter financial future, which is important. So let's bring a guest on. Mike, welcome to the show.
Steve, glad to be here. I love how you start the podcast with a gratitude. I'm sure your listeners love that also, and can't wait to dive in with you today. It has been great getting to know you over the last 8 minutes. It's going to be even more fun as we, exponentially do that more in the next 15, 20 or so.
Absolutely. Serving your money. How does somebody listening do that?
Well, serving your money is an interesting concept, right? And it's like in everybody's brain it probably feels a little bit twisted right now when you hear that, because what we're always taught is, how does our money serve us? Like, how do we define purpose, or how do we give our money purpose or a job to do? But serving our money is more of a concept that, quite honestly, Steve, until you and I talked today, I'd never really pondered this conversation before. But serving our money is like, how do we get it to grow, to exponentially do things that we ordinarily can't do by ourselves? How do we look at external things, and how do we try to align our money with our beliefs? That's what I really think how serving money is. There's a lot of us who have beliefs on how we live our life. Sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's not spiritual. Some of us have beliefs on like creating generational wealth or building a business that serves our community because there's a need that is unmet there. Money is what allows you to do that. You cannot outwork bad finances. It's impossible. Just like you can't out-train a bad diet for your health. You can't outwork bad finances. If you have bad skills in your finances, you have to get those corrected. My personal mission is to educate, coach, plan. 3 simple words. And it's, I think one of the things that makes me different in the financial space is I believe that education is at the core of everything. I don't think you need me to be your financial planner. I think you need me to take my 27 years of working with clients face to face and educate you on where others have made mistakes and educate you on how the system is rigged, right, to benefit them. And if I could do that, then we can move on to building a financial plan because you now have an understanding. You have a better framework to negotiate against the system that's not equipped for you to maximize return on investment. It's rigged so that companies like JP Morgan and Chase and Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Edward Jones, I could just keep going, who by the way, all these companies are reporting record earnings quarter after quarter after quarter. It's rigged so that they can continue to do that to feed shareholders, board members, and executives. That's what it's rigged to do. So how do you serve your money? Is you get educated, you coach yourself up or have somebody to help coach you, and then you build a plan, but you build a plan out of strength, not out of illiteracy, but out of literacy when it comes to money.
Beautiful message, because service is an action, but there's a mindset behind that.
Yeah.
Which serving your money, I think the action is people like, oh yeah, I make, take 10% of my income to save it. Great, great idea. Every planner would love that. But the mindset is, what do you do after? How do people handle that mindset? Like, okay, I got $1 million in there. I'm going to go buy a home. Well, but then you're taking out your saving, dive into that a little bit.
Well, money can only do one job at a time. That's what we told. Like there's very few things that we really can spend $1 on and then spend that same dollar again on something else. It's almost virtually impossible. Now there are techniques like leveraging other people's money that you can do, but then you still got to pay it back, right? You either have to through the investment that you leverage that money with, that has to pay the loan back, or you have to pay it back. But you can only spend $1 one time. So our goal, I mean theoretically, when you understand that basic concept of money, shouldn't you try to get as many dollars as possible? Not from a standpoint of greed or hoarding, but from a standpoint of finding more purpose with what you can do with that money. But again, Steve, I've been doing this for 27 years, and some of the most generous people in the world are not Scrooge from the Christmas Carol, right? That's what we've been taught as kids, right? A Christmas story taught us that wealthy people are not generous. I, in my experience, see the exact opposite, right? I do see people who are busy, who say no to giving. That doesn't mean they're greedy. That means they're focused, and your purpose may not be their purpose. But you can't label somebody greedy just because they have a purpose-led company that's based on impact, to where they're serving their employees and their communities they're in. So, we service, accumulating money so that you can go out and create an impact is really huge. Our company, as the founder of One Oak Financial, we intentionally have sought out to be in a community, a group of people who put impact over profit. And that sounds weird coming from a financial services company that works, coast to coast, and we're from Puerto Rico to Hawaii. That a company like that we put impact over profits, where people are first, where nobody's story gets lost in a system, and everybody has a name. Even though they have an account number, they have a name. In their life, the life they want to live, that we call it the one-of-a-kind life they want to live, is what drives us every day to make sure that we maximize what they're doing with their money.
Yeah, and it's so great. You mentioned the big guys. We won't have to mention their name again. I think one of the things that gets people overwhelmed is the financial verbiage, understandings, complex. And I use this, Mike, and I think you'll like this. My engine goes out in my car. I don't have to replace the engine. I'm not going to try to do that. Well, I don't have time. Do I have the expertise? It's where you and your group and good financial advisors come in. Talk to the audience how you can help with that complexity that happens.
Well, a financial plan is the most powerful document you can have. Now imagine having a financial plan that you could understand. That is that it if we go on the theory, the financial plan is the most important document, but it's written in a way you can understand, then it becomes something that you can action, right? I think of and I don't give this example often, but we all know like IKEA furniture, right? It comes in a big box. It's got 300 instructions and it takes a whole day to put together. What if instead of like that IKEA, like what if that was a financial plan and you had all of that with the complexity, right? But you then had to go kind of figure out the tools that you needed. There was no list of tools. You would abandon that financial plan like that. You'd be like, hey, I'm going to go over here and do something else. Or you would give trust to somebody who may not be doing what's in your best interest. Now, that term right there, doing what's in your best interest, Steve, is a term called fiduciary. You've heard that term before?
Oh, yeah.
Most people don't realize this, but the word fiduciary is a noun and a verb. The noun side is you can be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a fiduciary. And then what you recommend to somebody doesn't necessarily fall into fiduciary standard. It could be a suitable or a compliance-driven recommendation. And then there's other people who are not technically registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, because really that is the only place, like a financial advisor who's registered with them, with the SEC, is by definition the technical noun of the word. But there's other people who are maybe not registered there who do everything that's in the best interest. They do the verb side. And the interesting thing is when you find somebody who does both, they are and they do what's in the best interest of the client. And those are few and far between. I mean, there's a lot of good financial folks out there, and I know many people. There's a lot of financial people I don't know. There's some really good people. But but what I find is that individuals, and we speak with people all around the country, because I do a one-to-many education workshop where I'm helping people get the knowledge they need to then go out and make better financial decisions, on top of helping individual clients that, are unique enough and driven enough to kind of go live that one-of-a-kind life. In speaking with both of those groups, more intimate with our clients, more education-focused with those looking to move forward, you start to see where people have placed trust in somebody, and then when they learn something, they realize, oh my gosh, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have done that. And it's true. And I mean, that's true about everything. Money, it's true about like what we eat, right? If I would have known what was really in that, I would have never eaten that, right? It's true about relationships. If I would have known that about that person, I would have never done that. It's true about so many things, because the unfortunate thing about life is we don't live life with perfect knowledge. We live life with the knowledge we have when we make the decision. And then we continue to gain knowledge, although the decision was made. And finances is one of those things. Is I don't want people to suffer from paralysis with their financial decisions, because some decisions are better than no decisions. But there is a penalty for waiting for the perfect time to come up, the paralysis penalty that exists. If you do nothing, you leave your money at Bank of America earning 0.01% in your savings account until you find the perfect investment, there's been an opportunity cost that you've had all along that way of earning something better than what you earned. And Bank of America, their shareholders and their board directors have gone to the bank on you, because they've taken your money that they've given you 0.01 out, and they've lent it out for home equity lines and cars and credit cards at 6 and 8 and 22%. And they've made all the profit off your money. They've used your money to use other people's money. And I think when people get educated about that, how you can leverage, how you can use money to make other money, and realize that your money is doing that. You're whether or not you're doing it, your money is doing that. That's why I love to educate first, because when people are educated, they then can make clearer decisions.
Yeah, I mean, finances have changed so much. You've done 27 years. And it's even more complex now because of the noise in social media and everywhere. In so many ways, people are, hey, I do this and buy this. I see it all the time. And I'm sure you audience, you see it too. What's one thing? Because let's go back to fiduciary. The whole point was because my advisor is fiduciary. She explained it to me 15 years ago when I brought her on. I love that you said that. But so how's the audience find a fiduciary agent?
Well, I mean, technically, by definition, they have to be registered with the SEC, technically, as a noun, right? But there are a lot of people, there's some designations out there that call it, it's like certified fiduciary, or certified financial fiduciary, CFF. It's a designation. That designation means that they have agreed to act as a fiduciary. It doesn't mean that they are, it just means they've acted. And so what you should do, and then by the way, if you go to somebody and they say, that common question, are you a fiduciary? 99% of financial people would just be like, yes. And we stop asking questions then. Well, tell me who says you're a fiduciary? Like you said it, but who says it? Does your company say it? Does a government agency? Are you registered? Who says you're a fiduciary? Why do they say you're a fiduciary? So it's like the the interesting thing, right, is if a 3-year-old had some knowledge about stock investing, right? Could you imagine the questions they would ask an advisor? Who, what, when, where, how? Explain, we as adults, we 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds who've accumulated money over time, we just stop when we say, are you? And someone says, yes, we stop asking questions. One of the biggest things that I do, I wrote a book called The One of a Kind Financial Plan. It's out on Amazon. One of the things I say in the book is I say that your financial advisor, your financial advisor, financial planner, financial professional will ask you all these questions about your income, your assets, your goals, your hopes, your dreams. They'll ask you all this. And you want to catch a financial planner off guard or a financial professional off guard, ask them to show you their investment statements, their tax returns. Ask to see if what they're recommending for you, they would do for themselves. Ask to see their financial plan. Ask to see how much debt they're in. And a really good financial planner, you would catch them off guard if you were to ask them that. But a really good one would be like, and if they're really good, if they're doing what they're asking you to do, if their finances are in order, they would share it. Like I would share it. I would share anybody my net worth, but I would frame it in perspective. I'd be like, hey, listen, you're 65 years old. I'm 49. I would need you to think of yourself as like you're a 49-year-old. I just put three kids through college. I got one more tuition payment for one more year. I'd ask you to frame it when you see this, and then decide whether or not I'm successful or not based off of, that frame. And so I would tell them what my goals and my hopes and my dreams are, like what my plan is. And then when they see it, they'd be like, wow, that's pretty darn good. They would see that I've actually got a financial plan in place. They would see that I'm invested in the market, but I have some safe money over here that's eventually going to be retirement income. They would see that I have a long-term care policy, a will and trust in place. They would see that I manage my taxes in a way that I try to reduce them. And so everything I talk about, I do for myself. My number one client today, my number one client is my company. Right? But my 1A client is the financial plan of me and my wife, right? Our company, and that should almost be synonymous. But like if anybody out there, if you want to determine if your client is your financial professional's fiduciary, or if you want to find out if they're doing what's in your best interest, ask to see their financials. Why shouldn't they share it, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I never thought about that, but and it's very cool because it can be across all boards. Mm-hmm. If you're a psychiatrist, let me see, it wouldn't be your financial, but that's where you can build trust too. Because right when you said that, like, okay, I trust Mike a little bit more because transparency is one of the missing components, not the only, of financial advisors.
Imagine going to see a marriage counselor and you ask them, tell me about your marriage. And they're like, well, this is my 6th marriage and it's going great. Would you go to that marriage therapist, right? Without some explanation, right? So, sure. You go to a financial advisor and they say, hey, listen, I've got a $1.7 million mortgage at 7%, and I've got $120,000 of credit cards, but I'm doing okay. They're not doing okay. That's why almost the curiosity of a 3-year-old with your money. That's like what people need. And if you have it, because I mean, the reality is most of us, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old folks, like that's about our knowledge of money. Like if you really were to think about it, we really have about as much knowledge as like an elementary school person does about like math, right? Like if we were truthful with us. Many people think we're very smart with money because we saved. It just means that we've probably had good systems and processes, and that we've been fortunate with like the markets that we have been in, right? The stock market has had the best run. I mean, yeah. So a lot of it's been just because we've been at the right place at the right time. But if you approach this with the mindset that I'm going to push through, I'm going to ask more questions, I'm not going to accept the status quo. I'm going to find what's really good. And just remember, big companies, they'll put marketing campaigns together to discourage you from doing anything but what they want you to do.
You know, you mentioned, and now you got me thinking, because all this ties to decision. I'm your client, you're going to offer me a plan, but it's my decision eventually because it's my money and my plan. I talked to very successful people, Mike. I know you're going to agree with this. They say indecision is the killer for any financial plan because a no decision, that short-term works. The wrong or right decision, you could pivot on the wrong. The right one, of course, you've done it right. What's your thoughts on indecision as we end here?
Speed is critical.
Speed
with money. Speed is because what speed will allow you to do is it allow you to move on to the next decision faster and allows your money to start working. Now, but you have to be comfortable with the decision you're making. So you can go too fast, get a speeding ticket, or get in a car wreck, right? Right. But how many of us really drive the speed limit when we're on the interstate? If it's 65, we're going 75 as long as traffic's going the same speed. Maybe we're going 80. Speed with money is so critical as long as you understand the risk associated with it. Go all in as long as the risk is clearly defined. But the key to it is speed and then being able to stay dynamic, being able to not lock yourself into something that's going to that's going to hamstring you for the long term. And if you do that, and then you put a financial plan that's clear and easy to understand, like I talk about in the book, The One of a Kind Financial Plan, then you're setting yourself up for more success in the future.
Yeah, I love trading Forex, and I made wrong decision today. I had to get out quickly, lost money, but tomorrow I'll make it up, or the next couple of days. And that's what you remind me of, is making that decision, wrong, right, or no for now. And speed is really cool because my speed's going to be different than John's speed, than Debbie's speed. Your client base is all different. They're all not robots, like all going 100 miles an hour. And that's the beauty of this. It's your comfort level of risk and what your goals are. They have to be tied together. I'm going to do something for you, Mike, and audience. I'm going to reward you guys if you listen this far. Something I've come up with the last year is I'm going to share the first 5 people that share with either Mike or me this podcast. Send us an email. I'll get his contact info here in a minute. I'm going to send you his book for free. Read it yourself, share it, do what you want with it.
Yeah, and if people want to share with me, they could just go to mikemilligan.com. That's my direct website. You'll find all my contact information there. If you like what you heard there, I'd love to. If you reach out to me, I'll send you an autograph version of it.
There you go. See, a win-win. So you reach out to me, I'll get you a book. Reach out to Mike, you get an autograph book, and people go, well, I'm very successful financially. I don't need that book. That's fine. But you know what? Give it to somebody that is struggling in finances. And you just impacted somebody, and we should be doing that in this world. Before we close, let's do a fun question. I like to learn more about our guests. I'm going to go to your area where you live. Where do you live, by the way?
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
That's right. He's in Puerto Rico, which would be great. What a great trip. So I'm coming out of Puerto Rico, and you're going to pick your favorite restaurant. What I want you to do is invite 3 people. Wife comes with you, family comes with you. We'll just make that as a taken. But 3 influential people have changed her life. For me, I'm a foodie. You're going to pick the food that we're going to eat.
Yeah, I mean, like in Puerto Rico, like our favorite restaurant, and this is going to sound, interesting, right? Because it's an island, but our favorite restaurant is actually a sushi restaurant, Gumbai, and it's it's amazing, right? The experience, just the atmosphere is absolutely cool. I would probably though, like I'd probably say let's go the next day to an authentic Puerto Rican restaurant because everybody needs some mofongo in your life. And so that's where we go, like from a food standpoint, sushi or mofongo, like a native. And then my 3 people that I'd want to introduce you to, was that the other side?
Yeah, that you want to thank them for they've influenced your life.
Yeah, I mean, like if I could get 3 people there, I'd love to have my grandmother there. Although she's passed away, I'd love for her to be there. I'd love for everybody to meet her. She's an authentic, amazing person. I'd love to have, and the rest of my family's going to be there. I would love to bring along a guy who has influenced me a lot. His name's Darren Hardy. He wrote The Compound Effect, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Absolutely amazing guy. He probably wouldn't go out to eat because I think he's a vegetarian or a vegan or something. But for his company, I'd love to have him there. And then in Puerto Rico, there's a mayor, a former mayor of San Juan there. Her name is Julian Cruz, who I've gotten to know very good. She's if you remember Hurricane Maria, she was the mayor. Like our president at the time flew down, and while I was there, they had no water there, and he threw her a roll of paper towels, right? Not bottles of water, not food, not a plan to fix the power grid, but and she's been misunderstood for a long time. But she's one of the most genuine, unique people who has a servant heart, who would want to lead. So I'd want you to meet those people. My granny, who innovated through desperation, Darren Hardy, because he inspires me on a daily basis. Listen to him. And then this person who's doesn't have the greatest reputation, but when you get to know her, you realize that's what Puerto Rico is.
Beautiful. I love Darren Hardy. I listen to him every morning.
Yeah,
Shout
Darren
out to you.
Daly.
Reach out to me. Yeah, he does a free video every morning. It's amazing. Well, again, what's your website?
MikeMilligan.com. Company's name's One Oak Financial. So at MikeMilligan.com, you could find our company website. You could find how I educate, coach, and plan with people. And then anybody who wants to reach out directly, I have a text line that you can reach out to. You can just do the word ideas, IDEAS, ideas to the number 600-700, and you'll get a response within an hour.
Beautiful. Look at that. Servant's heart to the very end. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show and taking the time.
It's been great, Steve.
Yeah, it's an audience. Share this out. People struggling in their finances. And I think the number is 80%. I know here in California, if you're not making $250,000 a year, you're struggling. That's a lot of money for a lot of areas. But share this podcast out, share the link out, and impact other people. And if you listen to it and it's impacted you, impact other people. I will. I'm actually going to share this with Darren Hardy if I can, just so he gets the shout out. But the point is, podcast. And by the way, Mike, what's your podcast? I forgot to mention that.
It's called the Ideas by Mike podcast. Ideas by Mike.
It's super simple. Both of our podcasts, subscribe to them. They resonate, and share out any episodes you think you can impact others. So with that being said, me and Mike want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everybody.